Hello everyone, so this is me again. This is the part 2 of the video. I have filmed the first part, and if you haven't seen that already, I will have introduced what the video is about and what the projects are, blah blah blah. So go and check that out if you haven't already, otherwise this is not going to make any sense. But this is just going to be the second part of that video where I will talk about the rest of the knits of the year. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this second part, and happy knitting if you're knitting along. Bye! Okay, so the next project is another pair of socks, and it's also from the 52 Weeks of Sock book, and those are the stone socks, and this is from Tatiana Kulikova. It's made with Filcolana Arwetta in the colorway 971. I think it's called Sand. And that one is not, it's not cables, it's actually made with slip stitches, that kind of pattern. And people were saying that they had problems with this being too tight, so just be mindful of that and be careful. It was not that enjoyable to knit. I started the first one and it just took me forever to finish it, and then it took me even longer to finally finish the second one, but then I pushed through and finished them. It's got an Eye of the Partridge heel, which I do really like, and an anatomical toe, like an anatomically correct toe, which I really do like. I have worn these inside a couple of times, and I really like the fit of these. They're my favorite fitted socks, but unfortunately, because they're using such an interesting pattern with the slip stitches, that means I can't really replicate that. Like, it's not like a certain needle size that I could just keep using. These changed a lot with blocking. You can see the before and after photo on my Ravelry. It's really funny. These are made with magic loop. You can make them as high or low as you want. I think I did 2 pattern repeats at the leg. And I really like the way they look. It's top down, heel flap and gusset. So yeah, I don't know. I think I might... No, I don't know if I want to do them again. They were really boring to make, I'm sorry. I don't think I'll make them again, but I definitely wear these and I want to wear them even more. I'll put the price here of what this costs to make. And I would recommend it. I think it's a really special pair of socks to have, and it's nothing like I've seen before. And it was nice to just try a different method. That's what I'm kind of trying to do with the 52 Weeks of Sock book, is to try different constructions and different textures. So I've done lace, cables, slip stitches, still no colorwork sock. The next thing is another hat, and this is also from the Knitting from Fair Isle book by Ventrillon. And this one I used the classic colorway, and this is this. It's so nice. I love the colors. The red is like the most beautiful red. This is also Jamieson of Shetland Spindrift. So we've got Shetland black, natural white, madder, gold, and Prussian blue. And it's like a double folded like brim in black. And this one is actually like a ski hat kind of, and it's more fitted, so it's not a long hat. So I'll put it on. And I actually have worn this a few times. So yeah, I think if I were to remake this, I would make it a tad smaller, so maybe go down 1 needle size. I think I made this in 275, so maybe I'd make this in 2.5, but I'd be worried it would be really small. I guess it's not oversized or anything, so maybe I just wouldn't change it. It's hard to decide, isn't it? I think it's a bit too roomy at the top, but there's not really a way to change that, because the decreases already happen quite fast at the end, and then you just like pull your needle through everything and cinch it. So it's not like it's got that much free real estate to cut off at the top without cutting into the pattern. But I definitely have plans to make this again. Actually, it's on my list because they've got another colorway that I really want to do, and I've got all the colors for it. I just didn't want to make a second one too close to making the first one in case I got bored, and I did get bored. So I don't like making the same piece twice. But they've got like a colorway where the main color is olive, and I really like that one, like a dark olive. So I have plans to make a second one. I guess I just need to decide if I go down the needle size or not. But I have worn this. It's more my style. Like, And living in Scotland, I just feel so cool wearing this. If I say so myself, this looks like you bought it in a shop. Like, I think that color work is so nice. I wish my color work in jumpers was as neat as my color work in hats. I think the wool does a lot though, because I've not made a jumper in Shetland wool, but this is just the perfect wool for color work. I'm just gonna say it. I'll put the price here below of how much this cost. And it was a really easy pattern and chart to do. I don't think I made any modifications. I was playing yarn chicken with the black, but in the end I had to buy it anyway because the next colorway uses black as well. The next thing is these arrow cuffs by Hilary Grant from the book Knitting from the North. And they're really nice. The modification I did is that, as you can see here, there's like 2 arrows here and then like 3 at the back. And normally it has 6 arrows, but I removed 1 arrow because it was way too large otherwise. And this is Jamieson Spindrift, and it's the colorway like white and old gold 429. And I love, 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 love this color. It literally just looks like gold. I think this is showing pretty true. I like this. I blocked them and they look really nice and square. The color work is nice. I think the arrows, I'm not too happy with, like, no, I don't know. I think it's fine. I'm quite happy. These were made also really fast. In a day I made the pair, so could be an amazing gift knit, and it doesn't take much at all. It takes 6 grams of white and 9 grams of main color, and I have so many scraps of Jamieson Spindrift, so I think this is going to be my Christmas gift sorted. And I really like these. I've been wearing them a lot. I feel very stylish, so I just put them on like that, and then I just wear that with my coat. This is to make sure that you don't get any wind up your sleeves, so they're quite snug, which is perfect, and you just put your coat over that. Obviously they're not fingerless mitts, so they don't go all the way up to your thumb, but how cute is that? I don't think I've seen any other patterns for cuffs that I like this much, but cuffs are just really nice and really fast, really warm. The Shetland wool is so warm, and this is like the pure Gint wool. Like, if I was wearing this outside, I don't think I would need anything else on me. Well, trousers, I guess. So yeah, I would make this again. I do wear them. Here's the price that they cost, and just make sure to maybe use like the right needles, or to remove an arrow from the pattern because they might be too large, which I think a lot of people had mentioned. And then there's another cuff pattern that I had tried from this book where I had the same problem, and I just ripped it off and didn't even do it again because I was so frustrated with having to redo small circumference knitting because my things end up too large. So the next thing is another accessory, and it's a purse. So this one was heavily inspired by knitting with Florence. She had made this pattern. It's from Garn, and it's using Kinkle Merino Blend DK in the colorway 3801. And it's like a nice confetti thing, and this is like a little purse wallet thingy. So it's got an I-cord bind off, like edge, and it's just like open, and it's made with the herringbone stitch. So these were made with 9mm needles, and that was crazy. It felt so clunky and cumbersome and weird to have them, but I'm glad I did it. The funny thing with that is that actually you were meant to hold the yarn double, which I didn't realize and didn't do. So I used the same size needle but with just 1 strand, and I think it's completely fine. So I'm curious to see what this would look like with 2 strands. So what I've actually done is that I've bought more of that yarn, and I'm going to remake it, and I'm going to make it with 2 strands. Well, I'll keep this one just to see the difference, and then also that way I'll have 2 of those, because this is really handy to like hold some things. You're meant to line it, and I didn't get a chance to, and I'm annoyed at myself because I really would like to line it and also attach a zip. You can do that. So I think what I'm going to do is practice the lining and the zip on this one, so that I know for sure that if I make the second version with thicker yarn, that the zip and lining part is going to turn out okay. It was a bit tricky to learn like the herringbone stitch, and something that's difficult with that is the beginning and the end of the round. But on my Ravelry page, I put some links that I followed to make that easier and better for me. You can see like that's the kind of side, and also the bottom is supposed to be flat, like it's supposed to maybe be like a self-standing little bag pouch. So yeah, it's got two sizes. This is like the little pouch, but you can also make it a bigger one, and you could like attach a string or something, like a chain, to make it into a bag if you wanted. But yeah, I really want to line this. The yarn is nice and colorful, and it was a quick little project. It took one day, so we like that. I guess the thing with this pattern is that because of the herringbone thing, the herringbone stitch and method of working, there were so many question marks along the way where I wasn't sure that I was doing things right. And this pattern kind of taught me to just go for it anyway. And if something was meant to be knitted through the back loop and I did it through the front loop, as long as I was consistent, it would be fine. I actually did a few mistakes on the side of this at the beginning and end of the round, because you decrease it to make it slightly like tapering towards the top of the thing, and I was inconsistent, but I've literally just noticed now as I'm remembering, and it's fine, it wouldn't be noticeable otherwise. So it was a good project to make me more okay with mistakes, which I definitely need to work on because usually they really bother me. But this could be a really cool gift knit as well for someone in your life that, I don't know, wears makeup or needs to hold like knitting supplies. I think if I put a lining and a zipper, this would 100% be my little haberdashery pouch that I would put in my knitting bag for sure. So we need to get some lining and a zipper. The next thing I made is another PetiteKnit pattern, and this is the September Slipover. So here it is. So was this my first Slipover? I think it was. So this is made in brioche, which is a very interesting skill to learn, and I think something that everyone should because it gives that gorgeous squishy fabric. This is made on 3.75mm needles with Sandnes Garn Sunday in Kitt and Sandnes Garn Tynn Silk Mohair in Kitt as well. And I really like this, and I wear it a lot actually. So I usually wear it over shirts, but here you can see it also works over a t-shirt. I'm happy with the size of this. It's quite, I guess it's quite fitted and snug. You definitely have to be sure to swatch with brioche because it will block in certain ways. The nice thing about this is the like neck increases, and it's got like the same at the armpit as well, like here. It's got some ribbing. The neck is double folded, and I made the size, oh, I can't see, size S? No, I made the size extra small, and I did it with 3.75 needles, even though I blocked with a few different ones. So it was a lot of experimenting. It was so fun. It was a bit tricky to learn brioche and time consuming and slow, but that's why I was happy to be doing a slipover, because that way I would still reach the end faster than if I were to do a sweater. I really want to make the September sweater by PetiteKnit, and I think to change things up, what I'll do is I'll do the modifications from Hilary, who has on Instagram a set of instructions on how to make like decorative kind of shapes here, where basically you'd get like two lines that would shape the upper bust, and she has decreases and increases on the sleeves as well, which would make the September sweater a little bit more interesting than just this with sleeves. And I've got yarn for that sweater actually, and it's like the Drops Air, which I think would be fun to do. I think the original uses 3 strands of mohair, which I don't want to spend money on, and also I want to try more things without mohair. This mohair, even though I said it was a bit itchy on me on the champagne cardigan, when I'm wearing it as a slipover, it's completely fine. I have worn this a lot, like I said, over shirts. I'll put the price that this ended up costing me. It was basically 2.5 skeins of each yarn quality, so not too bad. And I really like the one that she made recently, she posted another version of this with Tynn and Mohair, and it's like a nice like chocolate brown color, which looks very different than this beige off-white one. But I'm really happy with the off-white. I really like the increases, and it's just such a nice texture. Don't think I made any mistakes, don't think I would change anything. Like I said, it would be nice to do the variations from Leah Licky. I wonder if the variations that she explained would work on this, because as far as I know, it's the same gauge as the September sweater and it's pretty much the same construction. So maybe if you're a very experienced knitter and you want to try it out, you could try her variation on the slipover. But I'd really recommend people to do slipovers and vests. It's so fun, so rewarding, so easy. And the way I usually do these is like, you start at the back, you pick up for the shoulders, you do the front, that's very standard. Then you join in the round, and then usually what I do is once I have a few inches in the round, I stop and I pick up the neck and I pick up the armholes, because then it's just so satisfying, and you just have to finish the body in the round and then you're done. And this took about 2 weeks to do. I think towards the end I had really lost motivation, so what I did was telling myself, you just have to work on it. Like you can see like the little V's in brioche, that's like 2 rounds. So I was saying to myself, like, you have to do 5 V's a day, and that way it'll be faster. And then that was so helpful, and it did work in motivating me to work on that every day for just 5 V's. Sometimes I would do more, sometimes I would just stop at 5 V's, and then by the end of that week, then I had finished it, which was a nice little motivation trick. The next sweater is the Step by Step sweater by Florence. Florence Miller, by Knitted with Florence. And I've worn this in one video, so I've talked about this a bit already. So I'll just put it on now. Oh, here we go. So I really like this jumper. I have worn this quite a lot. I really love the sleeves. There's only a couple of decreases. This was a free pattern, by the way. The modifications I did was that I made twisted rib, and I used the version that has the German short rows at the back and a double folded neck. So twisted rib, I made the size 2, and I'm really happy with the ease that it gives. It doesn't feel oversized. It's like a good kind of cropped size as well. Like, it's not too cropped, I guess. It just hits me at a nice point on the hip. Love the length of the sleeves, love the ease of the sleeves. Honestly, I think this is going to be my jumper that if I'm needing an idea of the size I want it to be, like, this would be a nice guide. I love it. It was so easy. It was so fast. This was made with Drops Nepal in the colorway Natural White and Light Gray. And I almost used 7 skeins of the gray, and I used just a bit over 1 skein of the white. So I'm wondering if there's a way of fudging it so that you could only just buy 1 skein of the white, because now I've got a lot of leftovers of the white. I made this in about 10 days, it's so great, so fast. I definitely want to make another one of these. I think I want to make a black one. I'll make the exact same, but just in black, because it'd be very comfy and versatile. The Nepal, I find a little bit itchy, actually, to be completely honest. Like, not again that it would bother me to the point of having to take it off, but just I'm noticing that I'm wearing this. Although a few times I think I've napped in this, or like just spent the whole day in it and it was fine. I'm wearing this t-shirt here, so again my arms are bare. So I don't know what other yarn I could use. I definitely want to maybe use another kind of alpaca wool mix, because I like how drapey this is. It's got a lot of projects on Ravelry now, actually, so a lot of people have used Nepal. There's Drops Alaska, Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, maybe brushed alpaca silk. Florence has released like an example that has a mohair held with a fingering, so you can also do that. Someone here has done it in Malabrigo Rios, which that could be good, because I find that to be very wearable, like next to skin, but also superwash behaves differently, so something to keep in mind. So I'd really recommend the pattern 100%. She also made a video that goes with it, in case you're a beginner and you need help for your first sweater. It could be like, it's a perfect first sweater recipe pattern. But yeah, if you're an advanced or experienced knitter, it's really cool as well. It's just like a raglan top-down construction. So yeah, I think this is making me want to do more of Drops Nepal projects. I haven't found it to pill, to be honest. People have complained that it's very pilly, but I've yet to notice any pilling, and I have worn this and gotten compliments on it. I didn't make any other changes that I've mentioned, and no mistakes either. I think it was really straightforward. So yeah, that's a success of the year. Next project you might recognize, it's the Sycamore sweater by PetiteKnit. And that one is really special because that's the sweater I was wearing in my first podcast episode. And a lot of people have commented to say that this made them want to make the Sycamore sweater, so that's great. So I really loved that jumper. It's made with Isager yarn, so there's Isager, oh, sorry if I'm saying that wrong by the way, silk mohair in navy and in 3S, and Isager Jensen for the main color in grey, colorway 2S, and then Isager Spinny. There's 3 colors held together for that navy stripe. And it's the color 12S, 2S, and 42. And the colorway was inspired by Maria Vertzen on Instagram, like I said in my podcast episode where I talk about this more actually. So I won't go into too much detail in this video because I've already talked about this. But I do wear it. I've worn it out to dinner recently and it was really nice and warm. I like the neck. I think it's okay, I suit it, but I do think that there's a few patterns on my list, on my queue that I want to do that have this kind of neck, and I might just sub it for a double folded color just because it's a bit more wearable and less chunky. I do like the length on this, I like the sleeves. It's got a nice amount of ease on this. I made the size small. I'll put the price, like how much that project cost, probably a lot. I bought the yarn from Loop London because they had all the colors I needed. If I were to make this again, and I might, because there's someone who used an amazing colorway. It's kind of like all black, all shades of black. So it's almost got like a matte black for the main color and then like a shiny black. And then maybe I would make like a double folded color just like for variety. This uses Japanese short rows for those like stripe ideas, stripe technique. Sorry, I'm eating all the mohair. I don't think I would make any changes apart from like changing the neck, but like it's not that there's anything wrong with that neck. It would just be for a bit of variation and do a different color variation. If you have scraps, this could be a good idea to try and mix and match some different things for the stripe. It basically uses one ball of mohair and a little bit more, so I was caught out with that where I had to buy a ball of navy mohair because I only had like one stripe of one sleeve to do. So maybe you could make the stripes less big on the sleeves and then only use one ball of mohair that you'd have in scraps. Like I said, I talked about this project before and I've also made lots of notes on my Ravelry, so if you're interested in more details or my thoughts about this, then you can look at that, or you can watch my first podcast episode. This took 3 weeks to do, so I think at this point now we can confidently say that it takes me about 3 weeks to make a sweater, if it's in like DK weight or Aran or worsted, and if it's a slipover, maybe like 2 weeks max. So it's good to know that in my kind of planning schedule for the year, is that a sweater would take me 3 weeks. And usually that's while working on other things at the same time. So starting a sweater, then a week later starting a new sweater, then, you know, finishing them about the same time. But I really like this pattern. It's so special and unique. It really catches the eye. I wear it in meetings and it's like really nice. So the next item is this slipover. And it's the Stockholm Slipover. So here it is here. And this is made in Sunday and Tynn silk by Sandnes Garn. This is in the size small. And it's by PetiteKnit. And I've also talked about this in my first podcast episode, so I won't go into too much detail. It was made in like foggy grey and light grey. But like I said, the colors are going to be in the description and then on my Ravelry. So yeah, I usually wear this over shirts, but as you can see, a t-shirt works really well with it. I think there might be a v-neck version. I think PetiteKnit has a lot of crew neck and v-neck versions of her slipovers. It's like a nice length where, again, if I really wanted to, I could tuck it in like high-waisted jeans like that. It's got a nice detail at the shoulder, like where you pick it up. Oh, sorry. It's kind of invisible. It's got short rows to make it fit really nicely on you. I think I'm really happy with the fit of this. Not the most happy with the neck. I think, you know, if I'm wearing a shirt, it's fine, but a t-shirt, it sits kind of awkwardly here. So I'm eager to try different slipovers. I like the way that the brioche one looked, the September one. I like the way that that fit a bit more. So I'll put how much this project cost. I do wear it. I have worn it a lot. It looks really professional. It's a very versatile color. And the fun thing about this project is that it took basically 2 skeins of each and not 2.5. So if you make it a little bit shorter, like you make sure that you make it shorter, then you can really get away with that. And maybe if you don't swatch as well. So I have plans to make a few more of these because it can be very cheap, especially if I already have like 1 ball of mohair left over, then I just need to buy 1 ball of mohair and I've got a slipover project. And it could be fun with hand-dyed yarns as well, or hand-dyed mohair because it doesn't use much. So basically it uses 430 meters of mohair. Do with that what you will. Didn't make any modifications, used the Italian like bind off for everything. Just really like the fit. But yeah, if you want any more information about this, then it'll just be on my Ravelry and on that first podcast video. And that one just took 8 days to make. So that's really, really nice and really fast. So 1 week, 2 balls of yarn and 2 balls of mohair. What's not to love? The next project, I did it just at the end of the year on December 30th, and it's the Schoolrun Headband by PenroseKnits. And I've also talked about this in my latest podcast episode, so I won't spend too much time. But here it is. It's got a nice picot edge, nice twist. And this was made with a leftover from the champagne cardigan. I had a bit more than a skein of cardamom left over, and I used just over 1 skein for this. So if we made it shorter, we could get away with only 1 skein, which would be an amazing, quick, cheap gift to do. Double Sunday was a perfect yarn to use for this. It's not irritating at all. It's very soft, it's very warm, it is very snug. I've worn this a lot since making it. I needed to make one because I was always cold when we go outside. Usually I wear headphones, but you know, if I'm walking with my boyfriend and we want to talk to each other, it's not ideal. So having something on the ears when we're walking is ideal. And yeah, pattern was really nice and easy, and the picot edge is so lovely and cute, and I can wear this with a ponytail, which is better than a hat. So I would do this again, 100%. I think I'm going to make a few gift knits with that pattern when it comes to it. And then lastly, the last finished object of the year was this pair of socks, which I finished, to be honest, I finished like overnight, like on the 1st of January, between the 31st and the 1st, but I'm counting it here. So this pair of socks, and I've talked about this already in the podcast, but it was with the West Yorkshire spinner. It was yarn that my boyfriend gifted me, the blue tit colorway, and then I used butterscotch for the contrast, which is matching that yellow. It was a free pattern. It was the library socks, and it's got this kind of like rib at the front and then stockinette at the bottom. It's got like a heel flap and gusset, 2x2 rib, normal toe. They're a little on the larger side, so if I were to make these again, I would do it with 2mm needles, because I think the ribbing basically makes these larger, and I think they're a bit too long as well. I've worn them a couple of times. I think the reason I don't wear my socks as well is because I just always wear the Sunday socks by PetiteKnit, and that's why they're so damaged. And maybe I am worried about damaging the other ones, but I don't think the other ones are supposed to pill that much, and all the other socks I've made have nylon in them, So I should stop wearing the Sunday socks and I should start wearing my other socks more, because look at how colorful and fun this is. This deserves to be worn. So when I finish filming, I'm going to put all my stuff away except these, and I'm going to wear these. I would definitely use that pattern again. I think it's nice for... It's a nice pattern that breaks up the stockinette when you're doing something like a simple top-down sock. It can be fun to add a bit of texture, but not too much texture, because you still want to highlight like the nice color-changing yarn. But as you can see the color-changing yarn here. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say. These just took 5 days. I had started the first sock and it was way too big, so I went down a needle size, and I was happier having done that. So just to be more accountable and for future reference, there are 2 items that I started last year that I have one of that I would really like to make the second of this year and put it all to bed. One of them is a sock, and it's the Una sock from 52 Weeks of Sock. It's a lace sock with a really, really nice heel. And it's using West Yorkshire spinner in the colorway Marshmallow. And I have the second one on the needles, I just have not gone around to finishing it. I found that lace pattern like really, really boring and long and tedious. So the other sock, I'm just at the leg, so I still need to do the heel and everything. Maybe I should do that today. Oh, that would be great if I was motivated enough to do that. I really, really, really should finish it, because I'm telling myself I shouldn't make any new socks if I'm not finishing this pair, because every time I make a sock, I'm straying further away from finishing this pair. And it would be really nice to wear. Like, it's a nice lace one. This one is blocked, so it really highlights that lace. It's got twisted rib. It was made with 2mm needles, so they really would fit me well, I think. I don't think I've made any mistake. I think I made a tiny mistake at the top of the toe, where when you're doing the Kitchener stitch, at some point I misaligned it and then ended up with one more stitch on one of the needles, but I just like finished it anyway, and literally it doesn't matter now. Who cares about those tiny mistakes? I think out of all of the knits I've shown today, the only mistake that I'm still salty over is that champagne cardigan, like on that V, the little holes. Which, by the way, if you have any ideas on how to fix, maybe with duplicate stitch or something, I did block it already, then let me know, because if I can fix it, I'd be very happy. But yeah, I should finish this Una sock. Please send good vibes, because it would be really nice. I don't know how wearable white is for a sock. I think they're gonna get dirty so fast, but it's okay. I was just wanting to try out lots of different sock yarns, and I liked doing the vervain socks from earlier with the lace, and I thought it would be fun to do this, but the vervain only had a little lace panel and the rest was stockinette, whereas this is lace all over basically, which is much more time consuming and harder to like remember. I didn't find that it was that easy to memorize, and I would still get a little bit confused. But yeah, I'm glad I'm showing this on camera, because I really, really want to finish this pair, because you know what, one sock is no use. And then the last thing I did was something I started in November, and it was just to use scraps. This is actually using the scraps from the Kitt hat, so you might recognize the colorway, but this is a wrist warmer. So as you can see, it's like a blue gradient, and it has like that orange and red thing. I'm not actually too big a fan of how stark the difference is between that yellow and the blues. I think it's way too bright a yellow. I wish it was more muted, but I think this is the colorway that the book recommended. And those are wrist warmers. Well, this is one wrist warmer. I stopped because I ran out of the oatmeal color, but I have more now, so I should make the second one. It's using Shetland Spindrift again, and it's a wrist warmer. So I'm putting it now, and it's quite snug actually, but I think that's a good thing. I'd rather it was too snug than too loose. And you're meant to basically just put those like under your coat. And I think this would be really nice, especially if I was wearing a t-shirt like that and putting my coat on, then it would really warm up my arm, instead of just like the cuffs that I could be wearing, which would be like too small. So yeah, I don't know what it is with me and cuffs and hats. Like, I've just really enjoyed those books. The pattern is from the Knitting from Fair Isle, so the same book as the hat came from. And this actually took a day to make. So again, if I really wanted to, I could like today make the second one, and I really should, because I really find it satisfying when you go on Ravelry and you tick like the finished box. It's using 275mm needles. So yeah, I think I'm doing magic loop for this. Yeah, I was doing magic loop, which I find difficult to do, like with the tension. I don't know if I've blocked these yet. Yeah, I don't know if I've blocked them. But it also has a very interesting thing at the beginning when you're making those stripes at the top, where basically you're not just using one strand of blue and then one strand of oatmeal. Here in the blue, you're using 2 strands of blue and alternating. So as if you were doing 1 by 1 color work, but they're both blue. And that way you actually still have floats on the inside, as you can see. And that way your tension stays consistent, and also it's meant to help it not roll up as much. So there's no ribbing anywhere. This is all just stockinette. I think you can see that this, I think you start at the bottom. This is a bit larger, this is a bit tighter. They're not a perfect rectangle, but it's fine. Like I said, this was mostly a scrap project, and I'm not even a fan of the orange. So I really just need to make the second one so that it's a pair, and then it'll go in the accessories drawer if I'm ever feeling very fancy. I do like getting better at color work and using all my Shetland wool. It's not as wearable as the jumpers, I guess, everything I've made from these books, and it's not necessarily my style to wear Fair Isle, but I really enjoy knitting Fair Isle, and I enjoy wearing the jumpers, so it's fine, it's okay. Okay, so that's it for everything. The total length of this is like 1 hour and 30 minutes, so it's definitely going to be a 2-parter, which I hope you'll enjoy. It's going to be really long to edit, but I'm happy I did it. I'm really happy I filmed this. It was really fun walking down memory lane with all the projects that I did. And I hope you enjoyed. As you can see, it was so much PetiteKnit, but that's fine. You like what you like. Have you made any of those projects? If so, let me know. This year, in 2023, I already have made things from My Favorite Things knitwear. I've still made things from PetiteKnit, but on my list I've got a lot of jumpers and sweaters and cardigans from different designers. If you are interested in that, you can see my other videos on like my list of sweaters and cardigans to make, where I'm definitely trying to branch out from PetiteKnit and My Favorite Things knitwear. I'm also planning to make more socks. I just find it so difficult to make pairs, but if I try and do them 2 at a time, that might be easier for the motivation. I'm definitely trying to think more about the things I want to wear. So the hats, again, it's tricky because there's so many hat patterns I really like, but I never wear hats. And I do want to use scraps. Like I still have a lot of Shetland wool, which I want to use for accessories because they're really cute. And like I said, like if you have like a half a skein, you can make these. Maybe even change the color work actually, because now that I'm thinking about it, like I could just adapt this to be a wrist warmer. Oh, so many possibilities. I'm very looking forward to what I'm going to do Fair Isle wise this year. But yeah, let me know what you thought of this video. I would really like some feedback on that format. Next time, would you rather it was just garments and no accessories at all? Did I talk too much about projects or not enough? Let me know, and then that way when I make this same video next year, I'll take into account all of that. Sorry, I got a call. But as I was saying, if you give me any feedback, I'll make sure to take that into consideration when I'm making a video this year with a roundup, or next year, I guess. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching and for supporting the videos and the channel. It's always a pleasure to sit down and chat with everyone. And yeah, I'll go and clean up all of the knits now and edit this video, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts and reactions about all of those projects. So happy knitting and see you next time. Bye bye!